They called him a warrior, a statesman, and one of the greatest Native American tacticians in U.S. history. But you won't find his face on a monument in Washington. Because Red Cloud didn't just resist the United States. He made them surrender. This is the story of Red Cloud, chief of the Oglala Lakota, and the man behind the only Indian war the U.S. ever admitted losing. Born for the Plains. Red Cloud was born in 1822 near the Platte River, in what is now Nebraska. His people, the Oglala Lakota, were horse warriors, masters of the Great Plains. He came of age in a world of buffalo hunts, tribal alliances, and rising threats from white settlers. By the time he was in his 20s, Red Cloud had built a reputation as a fierce and cunning warrior, brave in battle, but thoughtful in diplomacy. He fought alongside elders like Smoke and Man, afraid of his horses, learning when to draw a bow, and when to speak with honor. Trouble on the Bozeman Trail. The spark came in the 1860s, with the discovery of gold in Montana. Miners and settlers poured into the northern plains, cutting through Lakota territory on a path known as the Bozeman Trail. To protect this route, the U.S. built forts, Fort Reno, Fort Phil Kearny, Fort C.F. Smith, right in the heart of sacred Lakota hunting grounds. Red Cloud warned them, "Leave, or there will be war." The government sent more troops. So Red Cloud gathered warriors, Cheyenne, Arapaho, and fellow Lakota, to push back. And most successful Native campaign against the U.S. Army. The Fetterman Massacre. On December 21, 1866, Red Cloud set a trap. He and war leader Crazy Horse led a decoy raid near Fort Phil Kearny. Captain William Fetterman, who had arrogantly claimed he could ride through the whole Sioux Nation, took the bait. He and his men followed the raiders over Lodge Trail Ridge. Waiting beyond were over 1,000 warriors. In under an hour, Fetterman's entire force of 81 men was wiped out. No survivors. It was the U.S. Army's worst defeat on the plains, until Little Bighorn a decade later. The U.S. called for more troops. Red Cloud called for more resistance. He would not stop until the forts were gone. Victory signed in ink. 2 years later, in 1868, the U.S. surrendered, not on the battlefield, but at the negotiation table. The Fort Laramie Treaty declared victory for Red Cloud. The Bozeman Trail was closed. All 3 U.S. forts were abandoned and burned by the Lakota. The Great Sioux Reservation was established, guaranteeing the Lakota rights to the Black Hills and their hunting grounds as long as the grass shall grow. Red Cloud became the only Native leader to win a war against the United States through sheer military force, and to have the government admit it. A shift to diplomacy. But war takes its toll. Red Cloud saw the writing on the wall. In the years that followed, he chose a different path, diplomacy. While others picked up the rifle again, like Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse, Red Cloud used his reputation to negotiate. He traveled to Washington, D.C., meeting presidents, pleading for supplies, schools, and medical care for his people. He didn't always get what he asked for. But he never gave up. Honor without glory. Red Cloud lived to be 87 years old, outliving every major figure of his time, both Native and American. He died in 1909, blind, still on the Pine Ridge Reservation. He once said, "They made us many promises, more than I can remember. But they never kept but one. They promised to take our land. And they took it." Today, Red Cloud is often overlooked. But for those who know, he remains a symbol, not just of resistance, but of strength, wisdom, and dignity under fire. He fought when it was time to fight. He negotiated when it was time to speak. And he led with his people's survival in mind. Red Cloud didn't seek fame. He sought justice. And for a moment, he got it. Red Cloud. The man who made America retreat.